Welcome, everyone. I would like to express that we are very grateful for this interest in the topic, and thank you for taking the time to join us for this webinar session today. My name is Katharina, and I will moderate today's webinar with the subject Innovating for Sustainability. MKS Atotech unveils the future without hexavalent chrome. First and foremost, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Ernesto Salazar and Johnny Poon, who are our speakers and subject experts today. Dr. Ernesto Salazar, PhD in chemical engineering and postgraduate in marketing, has been working in the electroplating industry for more than 30 years. Successfully fulfilling the role as technical and business manager at Atotech Spain, he progressed to leading the global initiatives as a business manager for decorative coatings and plating on plastic since 2009. Currently, he serves as a global technology application manager, leveraging his experience to drive innovation and growth in the decorative and functional applications. Our second speaker is Johnny Poon, MBA, Master Science Marketing, Bachelor Science Chemistry, brings 18 years of extensive experience in the electroplating industry to his current role as Business Unit General Manager for Decorative Coatings, Plating on Plastic, Wear-Resistant Coatings and Energy since late 2023. Throughout his career, Johnny has demonstrated his expertise in various regional positions, including Business Manager, General Metal Finishing for East China, and Business Director, General Metal Finishing for Greater China. His multi-dimensional background and proven track record in different leadership roles underscore his proficiency in driving business growth, developing market strategies, and fostering innovation in the electroplating sector. Welcome, Ernesto and Johnny. A couple of words about the webinar before we dive into it. So the webinar will be divided into two major parts. We have around 45 minutes presentation and then 15 minutes Q&A session. I encourage you to raise questions during the presentation, and therefore please use the Q&A function, which you can find in your control panel. Keeping confidentiality, we will not publish the questions, so you can only see the question which you have posted yourself into the section. We will try to cover as many questions as possible during the planned Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Of course, if time allows, we will answer all questions right away. Also, Ernesto and Johnny will be available after the webinar to reach out to you via email. Last but not least, there will be a recording available after this webinar session, and we will let you know when it is released and then send the link via email to you. So now let me hand over to Johnny and Ernesto, and please enjoy the session.
Thank you very much, Katharina. Warm welcome from my side. Let me introduce myself. I'm Johnny Poon, General Manager of Decorative POP and also WLC Energy of MKS Atotech. So today we are going to share a few topics with you. First, we will discuss about the future without chromium-6, and then followed by Ernesto will present to you our Kupfertron process, which is the direct replacement of chromium trioxide in plating on plastic industry. And then with the trichrome family introduction, we are going to discuss the electroplating trichrome with bright and dark finishes. At the end, we will have a short outlook and summary section presented by myself. So let's go to the future without chromium-6. For plating on plastics, there are several steps using chromium trioxide and PFAS. So for plastic, the first step that we need to do is to make it conductive or to metallize the plastic surface. In the industry, normally now is using chromium trioxide as the etching step, followed by palladium activation, electrous copper or nickel, and our Kupfertron process is a one-to-one direct replacement of chromium 6 etching. This is necessary for every plating on plastic step. And for decorative plating, doesn't matter if it is plating on plastic or on different substrates. Normally, a multi-metal system is used in the industry. Copper, nickel, chrome are being used. And of course, chromium 6 is used for the plating of chromium as the final finishing layer. And our trichrome family is a direct replacement of this chromium 6 plating applications. Here's a short update on RICH about the chromium trioxide authorization status. This authorization is still pending. I would say this CTEC sub authorization or application is still pending, which is mainly consists of two uses in the plating industry. One is use 2, which is functional chrome FC here, and then use 3, which is more related to the audience today in the room, which is decorative and plating on plastic applications. So the update here is that this CTEC sub application is still pending, and there's no decision made. And there's no update expected in 2024. And all this application is still under the Annex 14 legal framework, and all this application process is still ongoing. And the update also is that all these users or applicants under CTEC sub is allowed to continue using chromium 6 under some terms. And for some users for functional chrome, which is I think not the case in this room, but in case that's audience using functional chrome in the room, there's a monitoring procedure which is mandatory under this Annex 14 application. So this update about CTEC sub application is having a Q&A which is available in the internet. However, there's a major update happening last year in October last year, and also there's another press release this year happening in May, which is released by ECHA. And what is this telling us? It tells us that this authorization procedure is going to move to a restriction procedure. It means that in around 3 years' time, which is until 2027, chromium 6 or chromium trioxide is going to delete from Annex 14, which is the authorization procedure for substances, which is under high concern. We'll move to Annex 17, which is a totally different procedure aiming to restrict the use of chromium trioxide for the whole industry. Nothing really concrete or nothing really concrete is available yet, but all we know is that this authorization procedure happening or happened, all this is still under review, and the sunset day and condition could change under the new Annex 17 procedure. And the next update is going to be happen April 2025, and it will be published. Or the proposal about restrictions. We will have more update next year. But this is the rich update from my side. Then I will then pass to Ernesto to talk about our Covertron and Trichrome solution.
Thank you, Johnny. Very warm welcome from my side. My name is Ernesto, and today I want to present to you the chrome-free and non-PFAS plating on plastic process from Atotech. The name of this process is Covertron 600. Covertron 600 is the chrome-free etching process for ABS and ABS PC from MKS Atotech. At a glance, we can say that it is a chrome-free process. It develops a similar etching pattern compared to benchmark sulfur-chromic etching by a chemical oxidant pretreatment. And as you can see in the SCM pictures in the screen, the process develops a pattern that is, let's say, very, very close to what is the standard one from the sulfur-chromic etching. And the process, Covertron 600, fulfills the standard industry requirements in terms of appearance, adhesion, thermocycle tests from multiple OEMs, is compatible with existing plastics, including ABS and ABS-PC, and is able to work with selective plating. So we can plate selectively 2K and 3K parts. The process sequence is also in the screen and allows, as you can see, a real drop-in solution as there is not any pre-etch or any intermediate step required to go to the etching step, and can work as well with any kind of pre-treatment, post-treatment that is after the electrolysis nickel. So whatever is currently in the plating line, being this immersion copper, nickel strike, copper strike, can work with the Covertron 600. So this is what we say that is really one-to-one replacement for the sulfur-chromic etching process as we know today. When, let's say, compare with the existing benchmark process, the first thing that you can see is that the Covertron 600 works at 35 degrees. This is already an important advantage, as besides energy savings from the point of view of this lower temperature of operation, this will also help when etching the parts to avoid potential dimensional changes in the racket parts, which can later contribute to stress in the plated work. This is also important. The etching time, of course, will depend on the material, but based on the experience that we have gained in our technical centers, in our customers, and with many different materials, as you will see later on, the regular etching time comes from 5 to 25 minutes. The rest of the pre-plating process steps will be exactly the same as currently you have in your line with the benchmark process, with some potential minor adjustment for its use with chrome-free etching. Of course, as there is not a Chrome 6 in the pre-plating steps, you know that the hexavalent chromium, beside its etching properties, it works also to prevent the rack plating. With Covertron 600, we don't have any chrome at all. So what is recommended is that to prevent any rack metallization, the installation of a rack conditioning step This is recommended. And this step can be installed in the stripping line, so off plating line. And with this conditioning step, we will help to prevent any potential rack plating. What is also important to mention and to highlight to all of you is that for regular production, together with the chemical process, we need to work with a electrolytic reoxidation unit. This is a recycling unit called Coverton 600 Recycling Unit, or CRU, which of course will help to keep the process running stable all over the production time. And this is something that, again, for regular production is absolutely necessary. The process sequence in detail for a conventional plating on plastic process shows here, you can see, how the Coverton 600 will replace the current sulfur-comic etching, and how is really a drop-in solution, because as mentioned, in fact, we don't need any kind of pretreatment here. And of course, we can also work with any kind of let's say, post or pre-plating before the AC copper. So we can work with immersion copper, we can work with a copper strike, or we can work with a nickel strike. So as can be seen in these SCM pictures that you have in the screen, the pattern that we are able to create is really, really comparable to the sulfur-comic etching. The process, Coverton 600 works with two additives, the Coverton 600 Part 1 and Coverton 600 Part 2. Both of them will influence the etching pattern of the plastic substrate. So both are important to create what we are looking for. And as mentioned before, the etching time will depend on the base material, the resin. The molding conditions also will play an important role, like currently with the sulfur-comic etching. And we can say that the regular etching times with the Coverton 600 for ABS, normally we move between 8 to 15 minutes, and for ABS PC parts, we move from 12 to 25 minutes when we have special materials. In terms of thermocycle or shock test, what we can say is that the results with the Coverton 600 for the thermal cycling or thermoshock from many different OEMs have been and are really very good. We fulfill the requirements of many of these OEMs. Like we can mention just an example, the Toyota thermocycling test, or the very famous Volkswagen PV200, or the Volvo or the Daimler, Nissan. So we have fulfilled, and we are fulfilling all of them without any blister, crack, or delamination of the parts. Here in the screen, of course, you can see the results after the Volkswagen thermocycle test PV 1200 and for ABS and ABS PC, and there is not any change after this thermocycling test. So another important topic is what happens with the selective plating. What happens when we need to process 2K and 3K parts? So here I can show with you that the Coverton 600 works with selective plating, and the selectivity that we can achieve is better, or at least equal to, the benchmark process. Of course, if necessary, longer etching times will be capable to remove any slight molding skins that they could be on the surface of the part, and this is comparable to the sulfur-comic etching. And we confirm this because currently our customers, they are in production with 2K and 3K parts with very good results. So this is confirmed by production. Here you can see an example of a selective plating with our Coverton process. So, and one important question from your side will be, okay, what happens with the materials? So the substrate compatibility is good with the Cobretron 600. And yes, we can share with you that the list of plastic substrate which had been processed through our Cobretron 600 is long, and shows that the current substrate compatibility with this etching process is excellent, without being necessary any, let's say, any request to modify the resin, or to, let's say, change the existing resin by specific modifications to be able to process the parts through a chrome-free etching process. No, we don't need. We are working with exactly the same substrates that their customers are working with the sulfur-comic etching in the current lines. If we talk about resins qualify, we can mention for ABS and ABS-PC, Novodur, Starex, Polylac, Lupoi, Biblend, Terluran, Sicolac, Techno, UMG. So you see that the list is very long. So we have many sample plated in MKS Atotech POP lines in the last years, and so also customers, they have many different materials plated, and of course a database for different materials is available for our customers. About other materials, we know, because also we are in production, that the Cobretron 600 works with polypropylene, and also 3D printing resins have been qualified with the Cobretron 600. The compatibility, as mentioned before, with 2K, 3K materials to be able to do selective plating is proven by production. And of course, we don't forget, and you need to have always in mind, that in the same way that today there is an influence with the sulfur-comic etching, the same will happen with the Cobretron 600. So the combination of the resin, the part geometry, the molding conditions are of course important to get the right result, or the right performance of the plating on plastic parts. So about the fundamentals for the etching process and the reoxidation mechanism for Cobretron, I will just show in the following slides. And here, of course, what we want to show to you is that the chemistry from Cobretron 600 is based on manganese. This element, you know, that comes in different oxidation stages, from manganese 2 to manganese 7. And in the middle, you have manganese 3, manganese 4. With a higher oxidation number, the oxidation potential of this chemistry of the manganese is higher. So we go into this direction, being here with the manganese 7, let's say the higher oxidation potential that we can achieve. With the Cobretron 600, only this stage, the manganese 7, is, let's say, the active species that will work for etching. So the Cobretron 600 will work with a permanganate to be able to be active for etching. So in Cobretron 600, this permanganate, the active species for etching is introduced through the Cobretron 600 Part 2 additive. This manganese 7, and according to the working conditions, is not active for etching for a long time. So what happens is that this manganese 7, what will get is over the time, it will break down as a result of an autocatalytic reduction reaction. So that means that we will move from the manganese 7 to manganese 2, becoming, of course, non-active for the etching purposes that we are requiring. And remember, this is an autocatalytic reaction driven by time and will bring to these inactive species. Of course, when we discuss about what is in this case the reaction that we currently have is that the basics of the etching are chemical oxidation, and the simplified reaction is that the permanganate, the manganese 7, will be able to etch or to attack the double bonds of the butadiene through this part 2, which introduced the manganese 7. Of course, in this process, what will happen is that the manganese 7 is reduced to lower valence. Of course, here you can see where, in a simplified way, where we get the double bond of the butadiene present in our resin, and what will happen is that as a result, the manganese is reduced. So that is again shown in the screen how the manganese 7 will move from the active species to the other that will become inactive. In the flow diagram that we showed to you in the screen, you can see as a summary what is the, let's say, the etching step. So we have the polybutadiene in DBS. We create the etching pattern by the oxidation of this polybutadiene by manganese 7, and finally, what we have is a reduction step that will remove any manganese species that could remain in the plastic surface. So, when we talk about the components of the Coppertone 600 system, we need to talk about the chemistry. So it's a manganese-based solution to etch the plastic, and you have seen right now the way that this solution is able to oxidize the plastic resin. We need to talk about a regeneration unit, the Coppertone regeneration unit, because of course this unit will help to keep the manganese 7 that you have seen that will become inactive by this autocatalytic reaction. We need to reverse this and to come back all these non-active species of manganese to this manganese or permanganate active material. This is the task of this unit, and this will get a contribution to lower the running cost. And this is very important because, as you have seen from the very beginning of the presentation, for regular production, we compulsorily need to work with a reoxidation unit. And finally, what we have is a spray application of the etching solution. You can see here is a spray booth which will be responsible to put in contact the etching solution and the plastic parts, and in fact will help or will create this pattern after the oxidation of the resin. But important that this spray application can work without producing any hazardous mist, and will allow to the process to reduce dramatically the necessary volume of the etching solution that we need to etching our production parts, and at the same time giving us excellent metallization and addition results. In a description of the function of the different steps, what we can say about the solution is that, of course, the function of the solution is really to etch the parts. So what we can see in here in the screen is the process sequence, and we follow exactly the standard pre-plating process that we have in the current lines. And with the Coppertone 600, we can use the same sequence, but at the same time giving to us the good addition of the subsequent metallic layers, which will be able to give to the plastic part the right decorative finish here, to be able also to get the right performance in terms of addition and thermocycling test, and the possibility to work with all the different materials, in this case, talking with also selective plating. From this point of view, Coppertone 600 fulfill all these functions, allowing to us to achieve the industry standards. And as you can see here in the SEM pictures, again, the the pattern is comparable to the benchmark process. But of course, if we use, for instance, one of the standard specifications in the market to check the requirements for peel strength testing, what we can see is that from a typical specification for the current process here, you see that with Covertron 600, we can achieve at least the same values, but our experience is that even we can get really higher peel strength values than the benchmark process. The etching chemical solution, again, is based, of course, on a 3 additive system, and is based on manganese, which will be responsible to oxidize the butadiene and develop the addition. As we have mentioned before, for mass production, a special equipment is necessary really to keep the process active. That is absolutely needed. This regeneration unit is called Covertron Regeneration Unit, or CRU. The task of this regeneration unit will be to keep the concentration of this manganese at the right level as an active oxidation state. So we need to keep the manganese, but we need to keep in the right oxidation state. Also, the working conditions of the etching solution can be controlled and adjusted by the CRU automatically, because the unit will be able, this auxiliary unit will be able to control the conductivity, and based on that, we can do this control and adjustment. The additives must be replenished only by drag out due to the production, and of course, always according to the analysis. We strongly recommend a regular monitoring of the process by doing this daily analysis, and of course monitor the critical parameters that will influence the behavior of the process. What we need to mention is that from these 3 additive systems, 2, as mentioned, are responsible to develop the right etching pattern, and the last one is a specific catalyst that is required to optimize the electrolytic reoxidation reaction in the CRU unit. In terms of the rack conditioning, as mentioned before, in the stripping line, we can install the rack conditioning to prevent the rack metallization. And what will be the regular, let's say, process sequence will be electrolytical stripping of the tips, chemical stripping, and finally the rack conditioner before the rack are sent back to the line for racking the parts. So we talk here about the Covertron regeneration unit, and at a glance, again, to mention that the part 2, the one containing the manganese 7, is what we add with our Covertron 600 additive package. This will, of course, work with the plastic substrate, and the manganese 7, which is coming with the part 2, will be reduced to lower valence, becoming not active for etching. So here, what we have is that we need to consider that this reduction of the manganese 7 will come from this oxidation of the resin, but also as a consequence of one autocatalytic reaction, which will be accelerated by temperature. And what this unit that you can see here in the screen will be responsible for is to regenerate this manganese, which has been reduced to lower valence, and to react or to come back to the manganese 7, keeping its concentration stable and allowing to the system to continue oxidizing the plastic resin. Let me show and let me share with you the field experience that we have with the Covertron 600 from different countries and from different customers. So currently, with over 20 installations worldwide, what we need to say is that most of these installations are working for automotive. So most of the experience that we have with Coverton 600 is related with the plating of parts for the automotive market. The customers, they have validated the performance of Coverton 600 on ABS and ABS-PC for multiple OEMs. Also, as mentioned, the selectivity is fully confirmed because we are in production, also for multiple 2K and 3K parts. The appearance, adhesion, and thermocycling tests have been passed, and we have met all the requirements. And the internal and external pre-validations of the process have been completed, passing all the requirements from the automotive. The process is installed at multiple customers in many countries, in different regions, and multiple PPAs have already been achieved through different and multiple OEMs, and a lot of these PPAs are ongoing already. So new parts to be plated will come into the market in the coming months. The process is in production for exterior and also for interior, and this is including also selective plated parts. And there are multiple OEM today receiving these regular production parts with Coverton 600. So besides this successful, let's say, introduction of the Coverton 600 to the automotive market, also we have non-automotive customers. And in this case, we can say that with these non-automotive customers, the process has been validated under production conditions, and the process is in production for ABS and also for polypropylene with excellent results. But of course, here we are talking about the replacement of the chrome, the hexavalent chromium of the chrome 6 from a plating on plastic line. And until now, we have discussed and introduced what happens in the pre-plating of this part. But also, if we want to eliminate the hexavalent chromium, we need to consider also at the end of the plating process. So that means when we need to plate the decorative chrome. And here the target again is also to eliminate this chrome 6 from the decorative process. And for that, what we get is the trivalent chromium process. And here we want to introduce the trichrome family, the different processes that the MKS Atotech can offer to you, from the chrome 6-like color to the dark finishes. And in this case, we can propose to you two alternatives. One is the direct replacement for the bright hexavalent chromium, and for that, we can present to you the Trichrome Plus, high plating speed, excellent results in the calcium chloride test, good corrosion resistance, working with graphite anodes, and also we can propose to you the Trichrome Ice, especially when what we intend to target is the brightest color possible and a color to match the benchmark color from the chrome 6. The throwing power is very good, excellent corrosion resistance, and in this case, working with a mixed oxide anodes. But besides this direct replacement of the existing bright chrome, what we can propose to you is the dark fashion finishes. And here we have a complete palette of processes able to cover, I will say, almost most of the needs from the market. From the warm light gray color with the Trichrome smoke, moving to the different colors, to deep neutral gray colors, to the really very dark and warm gray color. Our processes fulfill the requirements of the automotive industry and are approved by many OEMs, many OEMs. So I invite you to let's say, to learn more online and visit our webpage. Important also to let's say, to share with you is that all these dark fashion finishes are based in the chemistry or, on the Trichrome Plus. So showing the same features that you can achieve from the Trichrome Plus in terms of easy to operate, good corrosion resistance, graphite anodes, and of course, excellent Russian matte test results. So going a little bit deeper about the bright chrome finishes, as mentioned, and working with the right multi-layer nickel system, the Trichrome Ice and Trichrome Plus can offer to you excellent cast results, excellent neutral spray results, in this case with the APOS treatment, and in the case of the calcium chloride test, the results with the Trichrome Plus are excellent, and the color, of course, Trichrome Ice and Plus will not offer to you exactly the same color. When the main goal is to match the color from the decorative hexavalent chrome, Trichrome Ice is the answer. With the Trichrome Plus, we have a very long experience. It's the process that has been and is in the automotive for more than 10 years. But from other markets, we have the experience for over 40 years. Trichrome Ice, as mentioned, is the ideal solution when we need to match the hexavalent chromium color and shows an excellent resistance to ACT test. If we go to the dark chrome finishes, what we can mention here is that the let's say long-lasting processes with Atotech are the smoke 2, the shadow, and the graphite. Again, based in the same chemistry than Trichrome Plus and giving similar features. So that means that the good cast, good neutral spray, good calcium chloride results. The color will depend on the different processes. And of course, to consider is that we are able to offer to you processes with a stable color and a stable plating speed in production. These processes had been in the automotive for many years, and of course, they have given to the design departments the freedom to develop new finishes for the requirements of the customer. Let me also talk to you about the latest introduction from Atotech, and in this case, also in the field of the dark chrome finishes, and also based in the same chemistry from Trichrome Plus, we have Trichrome Titan and Trichrome Phantom. Again, with the right multi-layer nickel, and giving the same excellent results. What I can tell you is that we are talking about really, in the case of the Trichrome Titan, a unique color, able to give this stable good plating and stable and good plating speed in production, but this is really a deep neutral gray color. The process is in production for automotive OEMs and really is very well appreciated to give this specific neutral touch to the parts. The Trichrome Phantom is in the darkest shade given by the trivalent chromium processes from Atotech, also in production for different OEMs, and is able to give a real deep, dark, warm color. But of course, when we are talking about chrome-free or chrome 6-free plating process, we need to consider also the post-treatment after the trivalent chromium process. These post-treatment are recommended when we need to fulfill the requirements in the field of neutral spray corrosion resistance. And here, Atotech, MKS Atotech can propose to you two options. One process is the Tri-Seal 300. In this case, we are talking about a post-treatment, which will, of course, improve the performance with neutral spray test, and is applicable on bright colors only, just for bright colors. So that means that the Tri-Seal 300 will work for the Ice and the Plus. And with this, we can achieve more than 480 hours in neutral spray. And also, we can propose to you a Tri-Seal 500, which is also a chrome 6-free post-treatment, but in this case, for all the trichrome processes. Again, the requirement is focus on neutral spray corrosion resistance. So no significant influence on CAS will get, or you will get from this. And the performance of this post-treatment is good with all the trivalent chromium processes being bright or being dark. In this case, we can also achieve more than 480 hours in neutral spray test. So, last but not least, the final chrome layer is a trivalent chromium layer. And we need to consider that in any case, it's part of a multi-layer system. So it's more than just trichrome. To achieve the required performance, what we need to consider is that the appearance, the corrosion resistance start already from the copper and the nickel layers. So we need to consider that we are working with a system. So MKS Atotech, we have over 40 years of experience with trichrome and our patented multi-layer system and trichrome solution will help to you to reach the highest corrosion requirements of the automotive for exterior application, to also help to achieve different thicknesses, and what is also very important, to do this without chrome 6 in your plating process. So now, please allow to me to shift the presentation to Johnny, and he will go through the summary and the outlook.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. Let me quickly walk you through the summary and outlook. I think we cover many topics, and for Covertron, here's a summary. I think the most important thing is that this is an industrial proven process, which is able to work with ABS and ABS-PC. So I think this is the most differentiated part. Not all technology could offer this in one line with one process step. And also it is passing all the industrial requirement for automotive, and it is a production proven technology. And also for different substrate on different plastic material like PP, PEK, engineering plastic, PEI, 3D printing material, we have ability to plate on different substrates. And also important is that for different applications like 2K, 3K material, we can also use the same process for plating. And supply chain consideration. This is a very important note for all of the audience today, because what we see is that for automotive or for other application, of course, quality is very important, and there's a long and time-consuming qualification process needed if there's any major change in the process. So that is very important and extensive job needed, including different stakeholders in the supply chain, including OEMs, tiers, our customers, also equipment and chemical suppliers like MKS Atotech. And as I already present to you, this restriction deadline is coming. And all I can encourage everyone, including our company, is that we need to prepare and act actively and prepare for this change as early as possible. And as a company, MKS Atotech is committed to this innovation and also, very importantly, sustainability for all our customers and our partners in the supply chain. With that, I think we'll close the presentation today, and that's thank you very much for all your attention, and thank you very much also to Ernesto, and for Covertron, for Trichrome non-PFAS application. Let's work together to make our world more sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Johnny and Ernesto, and we will now proceed with our Q&A session. I would like to remind you that we will cover, of course, as many questions as possible during the planned Q&A session, and all the rest will be answered by Ernesto and Johnny after the webinar via email. So let's not waste any more time. Let's start. I have tried to group the questions a bit that we received by topics. So we will start with the question related to REACH. First question, what happens to the authorizations that are already granted?
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a very important question to all of us. Also interesting question. The answer is that this ECHA and the Commission has asked a very careful review on all this granted authorization, which means, okay, this Annex 17, which will be in place in the next few years, will replace this authorization. But for all this authorization which is already granted, up to now is pretty much unknown, because it's not there's nothing solid announced yet. But all we know is that from the announcement that all this authorization, about the timing, about the scope of this granted authorization may change during the restriction process in the future few years. And there will be more information on this restriction proposal in April next year. So we will keep you posted. If there's any update, we will let you know.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Up to the next question, I will now move on to Covertron, as we had most of our questions related to Covertron. Can you give some indications on the process costs?
All right. Yeah. First thing is to say thank you for this question. Of course, I fully understand, and this is a high interest point for everybody here in this webinar. Of course, the webinar is, let's say, not the most appropriate scenario to go deep into this topic. But yes, what I can share with you and I can indicate is that the processing parts with chrome-free etching is really more expensive than with chrome sulfuric etch. That is a fact. Of course, what could be the impact of this increase of the cost in the complete cost of processing a chrome plating part is something that it will depend on every part, every plating line, and every job plater. And here I cannot give you really details. But yes, from the let's say exclusively from the point of Covertron 600, the etching step will be more expensive than the sulfochromic etching. We know that this is a relevant topic for all of us, and due to this, of course, we continue working internally, but also externally with our customers to optimize and reduce the process cost. And I share with you already one excellent example of this effort by MKS Atotech to optimize this cost and to reduce in the highest way possible, or in the biggest way possible, the running cost. And this is, for instance, the implementation of the spray application. By doing this, we already tested and checked it and proved that that will decrease the original cost of the Covertron in let's say, in a relevant way. Our estimation is that this can contribute to reduce the original cost by more than 30%. So as a summary, yes, is more expensive than sulfur-chromic etching. Yes, we are working to optimize, and of course, we hope that in the future we can optimize the process in a way that this, let's say, is not anything relevant anymore. But for the time being, yes, it's more expensive.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. Next question. Can I process Chrome 6 and Chrome 3 in parallel in the same line?
Here, of course, as you have seen, we have many customers, and we can tell you that we will find out different scenarios. So, of course, whenever and wherever is possible, MKS Atotech will always recommend a specific process sequence from the etching step to the SC copper exclusively for chrome-free etching, let's say to get everything under control and to prevent that any let's say cross-contamination could happen. Some of our customers in production already, they have been able to dedicate exclusive lines to process full Chrome 6 free parts. But some of them, others, they have let's say they have installed the Chrome free etching process in the same line that currently they have working with sulfur-chromic etching. That will allow the process to work, let's say, in parallel. I can tell you that in most of the cases, let's say the qualification of the process before the decision to go into the production, in many cases has been done following this approach. First, let's install in dedicated steps in the same line the Chrome free, and later on, when everything is let's say qualified and everyone is ready, let's move maybe to dedicated lines or whatever is the approach. But of course, what is very important in case that you work with the Chrome free etch process installed in the same line than sulfur-chromic etching is to prevent any cross-contamination of the solutions due to drag in, drag out, splashes, etc. Of course, for a more detailed analysis and study of the options that you could get to install the Covertron 600 in your line, my recommendation is please contact with your Atotech local team. They will support to you and help to discuss on a case by case which could be the easiest and the best implementation of the Chrome-free process in your plating lines.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. As we are running a bit out of time, I would like to address one last question, which came quite often in the chat, that takes us a bit back to sustainability. People would like to know, what about PFAS?
Okay, about the PFAS, here I will say that the first thing to mention is that in the case of the PFAS, if we talk about the processes, what we can tell you is that the processes that which have been presented to you today are absolutely Chrome 6 free, but also PFAS free. So you have already the solution to, let's say, some of the headaches that there are in the market. With Covertron 600 and with Trichrome, you can in one shift you can avoid that the PFAS are in your line. So you stop any kind of PFAS utilization. Of course, PFAS is a subject pending of restriction. This is under reach, and we expect probably in the earliest in 2025, but could be later, that this will become in place. So it will go to this restriction under the reach, let's say, legislation. So I believe that is the good time to let's say to move into the direction of sustainability, and with the introduction of the Covertron 600 and the Trichrome to remove in one shot the Chrome 6 and the PFAS. What will happen in the future? We are pretty sure that considering that the PFAS is a forever chemical substance, restrictions not only in Europe but also in other regions, in other countries, will come into the near future. So I believe that is the best time to start moving to a more sustainable process and eliminate PFAS, but also Chrome 6.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. And thank you, Johnny, for the great presentation and for your time. Yeah, and I would also like to thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you being here today. There will be a replay of this webinar session available within the next few days, and we will send an email with the replay link out to you then. For all our on-demand webinars, please visit atotech.com/media/webinars. Of course, we will keep you up to date by email about all our upcoming webinars as well. Also, we kindly ask you to take a few minutes after the webinar session to answer a short survey because your feedback is very valuable for us. So for me, there's only one thing left to say. For today, thank you very much. Stay healthy and safe, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.